So 5 years after his Oscar-winning Parasite, Korean director Bong Joon-Ho has finally returned to our screens with his post-Oscar blank check movie, Mickey 17. So Mickey 17 is an adaptation of Edward Nashton's novel Mickey 7 and tells the story of Mickey Barnes, an expendable on this space expedition to colonize a unknown uncharted planet, who has the ability to die on many missions and have his body reprinted time and time again, so much so that it's happened to him now 17 times. But when a mysterious new version of Mickey shows up at the same time as Mickey 17, things start to go awry. So I've never read the novel Mickey 7. I do know that this film was being developed around the same time as the novel was being written, and Bong Joon-Ho was able to speak to the author of the book and kind of work things out so they could start creating this adaptation before the book had even reached store shelves. But as a fan of Bong Joon-Ho, who has watched all of his movies, I was really looking forward to seeing a new Bong Joon-Ho movie on the big screen, because the only one I'd actually seen before this on the big screen was Parasite back in 2019. So the fact that we were getting a brand new Bong Joon-Ho movie with such a huge budget was really, really exciting. So I'll start off by talking about the performances. Most notably, of course, we have Robert Pattinson as Mickey Barnes in the lead role, and he is just transcendent in this movie, like absolutely phenomenal. If you still need convincing that Robert Pattinson is a fantastic actor, this might be one of the best showcases for his talent yet. And I think that's hard to say because Robert Pattinson has had so many incredible roles throughout the past few years, but his dual role acting in this as Mickey 17 and Mickey 18 is phenomenal. It's amazing the fact that you can have these two versions of the same character on screen at the same time, and just from his mannerisms and the way he holds himself, you can tell which one is 17 and which one is 18, and it's incredible. And it even comes down to even the most simple things like the voice. Mickey 17 has this kind of, I believe, Steve Buscemi inspired voice, whereas Mickey 18, it's kind of similar to his Batman voice in a way, a little bit higher pitched. It's not quite as gravelly, but it's the closest thing I can compare it to. Is it's kind of a Batman style voice, and it's kind of similar to what he did with Bruce Wayne in The Batman. So you've got these incredibly different versions of the same character, despite the fact that they look identical. Pattinson does so much with both versions of the character that you can clearly tell who is who, and they are clearly distinct. Another standout performance for me was Naomi Ackie as Nasha, who plays Mickey's love interest in the movie, and I thought she was also really great here. Naomi Ackie is one of those actresses who is coming up more and more for me. Like, I remember first seeing her a couple of years ago and didn't really think that much of her, but in the past 12 months, we've had her in Blink Twice, which I thought she was fantastic in, and now here in Mickey 17, she's also fantastic here as well. She delivers some really great moments, has one of the most satisfying moments in the movie, I think. A really strong performance, and I also really bought into the relationship between her and Mickey 17. Like, there was this really sort of tender kind of cuteness to their relationship, but it also really comes through in the movie when they need it to, and I think that she delivers everything that the script demanded of her, and even more so. And I'll also give a special shout out to Mark Ruffalo here, who also plays the main antagonist throughout the film. Now, it's very clear when you watch the movie who Mark Ruffalo was basing his performance off of. I mean, Bong Joon-Ho has said that this character is based on a number of different sort of dictators from across the world and throughout history. And while that may have been the intention from Bong Joon-Ho, I think it's very clear that Mark Ruffalo is doing a Donald Trump impression here. Even down to the fact that he does these speech type of things that very much are similar to the way Donald Trump would speak. His movements is very similar to the way Donald Trump moves. It's very obvious that that is who he drew inspiration from for this performance. Again, Bong Joon-Ho might have had slightly different intentions in regards to where the inspiration for this character has come from, but Mark Ruffalo is definitely doing a Donald Trump impersonation in this movie. And how that sort of falls for you will be clearly, dependent on you and your opinion, but I think his performance was fun. Like, it's very over the top, it's very silly, it's very much like, I did see someone say it's kind of like a Trump SNL impression, which it is kind of like that. It's not, a particularly nuanced performance, it's not subtle in any way, shape or form. It is a, very caricature kind of, interpretation of this type of dictator character. So it might work for some people, it might not work. Like, for me personally, I think it does work for this movie because it does have this kind of sense of almost uncanny valley to it. If you've seen Bong Joon-Ho's previous movies, they do have this kind of, in some of his movies, particularly like Okja or Snowpiercer, there is this kind of like heightened reality where, you know, people in the film aren't quite as they are in real life. And I feel like in this movie it has that similar kind of vibe. So I think that Mark Ruffalo's performance does fall in line with that. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, this is Bong Joon-Ho's largest budgeted movie he's ever made, and obviously coming off of his Oscar win from Parasite, Warner Brothers just chucked him all the money in the world and said, make whatever you want, and this is what we got. And the budget absolutely shows in this movie because it looks phenomenal. I watched it in IMAX last night and it looks amazing, like absolutely amazing. Seeing it on that big screen, you know, you've got these huge sets, you've got these incredible visual effect scenes. You can see all the money on the screen. Like, it, you know, we're living in this time right now where visual effects aren't, you know, as top tier as they should be, and we're seeing, you know, that these visual effects artists are being overworked and underpaid, and the results on screen are showing that. And here on Mickey 17, clearly they had the money to work with here because it looks fantastic throughout the entire movie, whether you're talking about, you know, the landscape of the planet they're on, of Niflheim, whether you're talking about the inside of the ship they're on. It just looks absolutely immaculate to the detail, and I really do think that, you know, when the Oscars come around next year, I think Mickey 17 might potentially be in for some tech nominations, particularly for production design. It looks amazing here, and it was a joy to watch in IMAX. You've got to see this in IMAX. And I also think the movie was really funny. I think Bong Joon-Ho doesn't actually get enough credit for how funny his movies are. I think that he has this tendency to, even in some of his darkest films, have these really oddly comedic moments that keep the characters and the film alive, you know, because I feel like that's such a thing in real life. You know, as human beings, we use humor to stay alive, and I think Bong Joon-Ho really understands that, and we see that in all of his films. You know, I even think back to a moment like in Mother, for example, where you have the kid in that movie try and take out the wing mirror of that car and just completely misses and falls on his ass. Like, it's moments like that, these little moments of levity that are really funny. That's why I was looking forward to Mickey 17, because it was being marketed more as like a comedy more than anything else. And while I wouldn't say this movie is like a comedy, it's certainly very comedic in its tone and in terms of, like, you know, the deaths and things like that in the movie. There's certainly silly aspects to it, and I think that when the movie is doing its comedy and it does land, it lands really strong. And there are certain, you know, moments in the film, whether you're talking about, you know, just line delivery or physical comedy, you know, Robert Pattinson's weird little performances that he does, it all works. And I think Bong Joon-Ho, the way he's able to construct this film as a kind of dark comedy sci-fi adventure, it's really well done. So on the whole, Mickey 17 I thought was an absolute blast. I really enjoyed it. I went into it with pretty high expectations. Like, I was really looking forward to it. Just as a fan of Bong Joon-Ho, I was looking forward to seeing a new movie from him. And while I don't think this is necessarily in the top echelon of Bong Joon-Ho movies, even a middling Bong Joon-Ho movie is better than most movies. And for me, I think this is possibly a contender for my favorite movie of the year so far. I mean, in fairness, 2025 I don't think has been the strongest movie year so far, so I haven't got a lot of contenders right now, but it's certainly up there. I'm really enjoyed it. I'll probably go and see it again. Just a great film, great performances, looks amazing. And if you're looking, you know, for something to go and see in the cinema that is like a uncompromised vision that, you know, is actually well delivered and isn't, you know, scrutinized over by studio politics or anything like that, go and see Mickey 17. It's a real complete project. And I know that some people aren't loving it, but go see it, go form your own opinion and see what you think. I give Mickey 17 4.5 stars out of 5. So what did you think about Mickey 17? Make sure you let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I can't wait to hear what you thought about the movie. And stay tuned to the channel, as I will be doing a Bong Joon-Ho ranking. That will be coming up probably next week. So make sure you stay tuned to the channel, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss that video when it releases. And hope to see you guys again next time.